You know that feeling when life empties out? The redundancy letter arrives, the diagnosis comes back, the relationship ends. Your cupboards are bare, not just literally, but emotionally, financially, and spiritually. And fear creeps in. Here's the truth. Fear isn't your final destination. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 tells us, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline." Most people think courage means you stop feeling afraid, but the Bible shows us something better. Courage means trusting God's power when you're still shaking. What if your greatest fear is actually the doorway to your deepest faith? Today, we're meeting a widow who had nothing left and discovering how God turns empty cupboards into everyday miracles. Turn with me to 1 Kings chapter 17. There's a widow in Zarephath. Famine everywhere. Her cupboards are nearly empty. She's gathering sticks to cook one final meal for her son and herself. Then she expects to die. Now, that's not dramatic language. That's verse 12. When the prophet Elijah meets her, she speaks her fear out loud. She doesn't pretend. She doesn't put on a brave face. She names exactly what she's afraid of: starvation, death, and losing her child. And you know what? Naming her fear in God's presence was the first step to freedom. Where are you afraid today? At work? Worried about your job? At home, anxious about your children? In your neighborhood, feeling overwhelmed by loneliness? Name it before God. He's not shocked. He's listening. But there's something even more powerful than acknowledging your fear. Here's what Elijah asks her to do. Not solve everything, not fix the famine, just make him a little bread first. One small loaf. That's it. Small obedience. She could see that. She could manage that. And when she took that one small step of trust, God met her there. Listen, you don't need to conquer all of your fear today. You just need to take one small step of obedience. At work, maybe it's having that honest conversation you've been avoiding. In your family, perhaps it's forgiving that person who hurt you. In your neighborhood, it might be reaching out to that lonely neighbor. What's one small thing God's asking you to do today? That's where He meets you, not in the big dramatic moment, in the small, faithful yes. Once you've taken that small step, then you need to protect it. Now, watch this. The oil and the flour didn't appear all at once. Verse 16 says they lasted many days, day by day, morning by morning. The widow had to trust again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Your courage muscle grows stronger each morning you choose to trust God again. In your workplace, facing that difficult colleague. In your family, navigating that ongoing tension. In your community service, serving when you're exhausted. Daily trust builds lasting courage. God doesn't give you next month's strength today. He gives you today's strength today. And tomorrow, He'll give you tomorrow's strength. And here's the final piece that changes everything. The widow's crisis became the setting for God's miracle. And that miracle didn't just feed her family. It encouraged countless people for 3,000 years, including you and me right now. That fear that you're facing in your friendship, your family, your work situation, God might use your trust right there to encourage someone watching you. Your colleague notices your peace. Your neighbor sees your hope. Your family watches you choose faith over fear. Your crisis becomes someone else's encouragement. So here's what we've learned today. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's trusting God's power when you're afraid. Small obedience defeats big fear. Daily trust builds lasting strength. And your crisis might become someone else's encouragement. This week, take one small step of trust in the place where you feel most afraid. God hasn't given you a spirit of fear. He's given you power, love, and self-discipline. And speaking of that widow's story, tomorrow we're going to go back to her empty cupboard, because what if not enough is exactly where God does his best work. Join me tomorrow as we discover why your empty cupboard isn't the end of the story. See you then for another battle drill.